For coming out here this morning. My name is Mohan Mishra. I'm an organizer with Known as Illegal Toronto. And we shouldn't have to be out here this morning. But last night at 11 o'clock, 7 police officers from the Toronto Police and OPP arrested Alex Hundert at his father's house. Alex is a good friend, a valued community member, community organizer and solidarity activist who has been continually targeted since before and after the G20. In July, the police tried to tell him that talking to the media was against his conditions. We proved them wrong. Just last week, the Crown again lost their appeal to have him put back into jail on September 13th. Yet after that, just last night, after they couldn't put him back in jail through the court, the police officer showed up at his house and arrested him because they said that speaking at a panel event at Ryerson University was a public demonstration and was a breach of his conditions. The first speaker today is John Norris, Alex's lawyer.
Morning, everybody. I have to get into court, so I have to be fairly brief. But I will be sure that Alex knows how many people are out here supporting him. For the sake of the media, I just want to indicate that my understanding is that the Crown will be seeking to revoke Alex's bail. That will require a hearing of a number of days that cannot be scheduled for some time. We are obviously very, very concerned about this loss of liberty for somebody who was on a very strict form of release, who was obeying all the terms of his bail, and has now been jailed because of what we say is an unreasonable interpretation of those terms of release. We will be fighting that interpretation in court, and I urge you all to come and hear what is said. In my view, the Crown and the police are interpreting this bail in a way that is a fundamental breach of Alex's rights under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and it is in no way what was intended by his release. He has had incredible support from the community and from his family and from his sureties, and we look forward to him being released again very soon.
Thank you very much, John. Our next speaker is Rachel Avery, an organizer with AWOL. Rachel?
Hi, good morning, everyone. So yes, I'm an organizer with AWOL. I've been working with Alex for the past few years as part of that group. So AWOL is a group based in Kitchener-Waterloo. We're a community organization. We do organizing around Indigenous solidarity, environmental justice, migrant justice, anti-war issues, culture of fear, and issues that are really important to our communities. And Alex and AWOL have been targeted for this kind of organizing for the whole time we've been organizing, especially around the G20 and back to the Olympics as well. AWOL has been targeted for the ideas that we hold. It seems that the ideas that we hold in terms of organizing around especially Indigenous solidarity and organizing in a real community-based, non-hierarchical way is perceived as being very threatening. And this arrest right now is just a further criminalization of dissent. They are trying to take away our voice because our voice is a threat. We do feel that he was not breaching his bail conditions. He was speaking on a panel to critique the agenda that we have been trying to critique as a movement, and this type of critique is not something that he should be ever jailed for. We demand his release, and we also would like to call attention to those who are targeted every day for their opposition and just for people whose existence itself is a challenge to the system, who are targeted, who are similarly unfairly targeted every day, and are also many of them being held at the present time, and including another organizer from the Kitchener community who has been arrested for G20 organizing, Ryan Rainville, who is an Indigenous activist, and he is still being held in jail. He has been denied bail, and we feel that this is such a political act as well, and so we are demanding the release of our community members, of our friends and our allies, and we feel that this kind of targeting must stop immediately.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Our next speaker is Lisa Schofield, an organizer with the Ontario Coalition Against Poverty and one of Alex's co-panelists at the speaking event last night.
Thanks, Mohan. So, I really wish we didn't have to be here right now. And I'm pissed. I am so pissed, as I'm sure all of you are. The event last night that was organized at Ryerson University that Judy's going to talk about, Alex was invited to Ryerson University by Judy, by faculty at Ryerson, to have a discussion about the G20 and about our movement and moving forward. Alex was there to speak, I was there to speak. I talked to Alex a lot during the week about what that event was going to look like. It was going to be a discussion between us, between people in the audience, about where's our movement at and how are we going to move forward. Given all of the criminalization that we've seen happen, given all of the intense things that people have experienced, we wanted to have that discussion with each other and move forward. And what happened to Alex last night? He got home. First, we know that there was undercovers in the room. We know that that was true. And we know that when Alex got home, he was surrounded, he was arrested, and he's been thrown back into jail. And that is disgusting. So I think we need to be clear that this, along with the initial arrest, of 1,000 people during the G20, is a disgusting show by the state to stifle organizing. Not just a repression of dissent, it's to stifle organizing, ongoing community organizing, and to send a chill through our movements. And I want to make very, very clear today that we will defend Alex. We will defend him and all of the G20 detainees, all of the G20 defendants. We will defend them until this is over. But beyond that, in the words of Alex last night, we are strengthening our resolve. We were on the streets of Toronto in June for a reason, and we were talking about that last night. We were protesting in June not just for the right to protest, but for real demands of social and economic justice. And Alex is a part of that movement, as are all of the G20 defendants. They are part of that movement. We are strengthening our resolve. For every Alex that they arrest, for every Leah that they arrest, for every Hassan that they arrest, for every hundreds of people that were arrested during the G20, we are bringing tenfold the strength. This decade of austerity, it will not be marked by their austerity. It will be marked by our resistance.
Thank you so much, Lisa. One thing that we have to remember is that along with Alex, there are still 5 other people still being held in jail that have been there since the G20. And like Lisa said, we have to make sure that we stand with every single person. We stand with Alex, with every person still in jail, and with every single person charged until this is over. Our next speaker is Judy Rebick. Judy's a professor at Ryerson University and was a co-panelist at the speaking event with Alex last night.
Are there any cops in the crowd? I just want to let you know, this is a protest. Yesterday was a meeting. It was a meeting. It was so non-threatening. You see, I hold hundreds of meetings over the years at Ryerson. And when there's a meeting that the Ryerson security thinks is going to be a problem, they call me, we have a discussion, we make a plan. They didn't call me about this meeting because this was to be a calm, peaceful discussion about issues that are on everyone's mind. Just what a university is supposed to be. I invited Alex Hundert to Ryerson. I hosted him and the other panelists at Ryerson. It is an outrage that he was arrested for attending a meeting meant to discuss current events that everybody in this city is discussing. An outrage. You know, when I started doing international work about 10 years ago, I heard this word impunity. I didn't really understand what it meant. Impunity means when the police can go around arresting people for no reason against the law. And what the police did last night showed a complete impunity. They broke the law to put him in jail again, and they know it too. there is no way that there was a protest last night. There is no way in any way, and we were all there, and we have tapes of it, and everybody knows it, and the police that were there also know it. So what does it mean that they arrested him for going to a protest? It means they don't like the fact that they can't win in the courts, keeping him in jail with no bail. And so with impunity, they keep arresting him and putting him back in jail. So anybody who's been on the fence about this, who's uncomfortable about what happened in the G20, think about this. Who's next? If they can arrest Alex Hundert for no reason, for in fact a reason they know to be false, who's next? We have every person in this city, in this country, who believes in legal rights, that people have legal rights that need to be defended, have to stand up against this and against all the illegal arrests that were made during the G20. And I hope that this hopefully will be, if there's anything positive that can come out of this, it'll be a turning point. Now, there isn't any right-minded person, right, left, or center in this country that can possibly agree that this man should be kept in jail against a judge's orders because the police want him there. Campuses are a place for discussion, and nobody can be arrested on our campus for participating in a discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Judy. Okay, our last speaker today is Jen Wunye, an Anishinaabe ally.
Jen Indishnikas, Manwakin Dunjaba, Chija Kandodam. I'm here today because Alex is a friend of mine. He's done a lot of work for our community. And as an Anishinaabe woman, I support him, and I trust him, and I consider him an ally. He supports us in our struggle. And so we're here today to support him. Because solidarity works both ways. It's something that Alex believes in as well, is not just talking about himself and not just talking about political prisoners, but all prisoners and all detainees. There's someone in jail right now that he's actually, very close to, and his name is Ryan, and he's an Indigenous sovereigntist, and he's also behind bars. He's sitting in jail. And this system here, this building, and these institutions keep our people incarcerated so they can't fight. And so it's hard for them to resist, and it's hard for them to struggle. And we need to stand up against that. And we do that by not being afraid, first of all, and by being able to look in our own hearts and to know exactly who we are and where we come from, and to be proud of that and to stand in that with confidence. Alex is someone who understands the Turo. That's something that I've respected about him since the day that I met him. He understands what it means to walk in that way. And I know that he will not be broken by the state. Just the same as our people are not broken by the state, and just the same as everybody standing here will not be broken by this system. We will continue to resist, and we will continue to fight.
Thank you so much, Jen. So like we said earlier, they've tried this before with so many people. During the G20, they arrested over 1,100 people. Out of that number, over 300 were charged. On August 23rd, another 75 people had their charges dropped. But they're still arresting people. Since the G20, they've been releasing top 10 lists, they've been arresting people, and that's continuing, and it happened again last night. But we're not gonna let that happen without coming out here and fighting it. And every time it's happened, we've come out here and fight it, and we're gonna continue to come out here every time it happens to support every single person that's charged, every person arrested, every single person still in jail. Keep supporting everyone till all the charges are dropped, till everyone's out. So can we get a chant? Drop the charges now. Drop the charges now. Drop the charges now. Drop the charges now. Drop the charges now.